Little help? Oh, looks like you're gonna have to take a mulligan on that one. Wes, how you doing? How you doing? Well, good, excellent. It looks like you have a pretty good day going. Why don't we talk about this in the kitchen? Yeah. This week on the Tucson Tasty Show, we get to try the entire menu at Zio Peppe with Chef Devin Sanner and Matt Cable. They just do an amazing job with the Sonoran Italian fusion.
We're sort of confying it, but we want to create like a little shell around the outside of it. Just like soften the little thing.
Tell me about Laramita Cellars.
Well, to be honest, this is a hobby that got completely out of control. I always had an interest in wine, but didn't really become a passion until about 2005. I started taking wine tastings at AZ Wine Company, a small shop in Scottsdale. One thing led to another, and I started dabbling in home winemaking. Then I started dabbling in backyard viticulture. And by 2012, I was making quite a bit of wine in my home, and my friends were asking me why I wasn't doing this as a business. And I said, it's too much work, too much worry, too much bureaucracy. I didn't want to mess with it, but at the end of the day, I wasn't happy with those answers, so I decided to go ahead and pull the trigger on this. And in 2012, summer of 2012, I embarked on a search for the property that would become my vineyard. It took almost 4 months to find the property just outside of Wilcox. And the vineyard, by the way, is known as Chiricahua Ranch Vineyard. So if you ever see Chiricahua Ranch on the back of another Arizona wine, those grapes are sourced from my vineyard. I found the property after an extensive search around Wilcox. I considered briefly other areas in Arizona, but thought Wilcox was the right place to be. I planted my first vines in 2013. I started the winery in 2016, and here we are in 2024, and things are going great.
So you started off with one or two wines?
Well, the very first year, of course, right now I have 18 different varieties that I grow. I still sell a lot of fruit. I'm selling a little bit less each year to other Arizona wineries. But the first year in 2016, we had two whites, a rosé, and a red, a Syrah. And at this point, what are we putting in bottle? We have, for the 2023 vintage, we have 4 different whites, a rosé, and 5 reds, so quite an expansive library of wines. And today, we're here at Zio Peppe. Of course, we're featuring the Tres Primas, our very popular aromatic blend of Malvasia Bianca, Viognier, and Roussanne, and our award-winning Sangiovese, which is it's 90% Sangiovese, 10% Syrah, and I firmly believe that Arizona is the best place in the world to grow Sangiovese.
I agree. Tell me about you have other wines that you carry with Zio Peppe. Your partner works at Zio Peppe.
Well, I sell a number of wines, Zio Peppe, and other establishments throughout the Tucson area. Right now, they have my Padre Quino, my port-style wine, and I'm going to turn around and take a look. In the past, they've had a couple of other wines on the menu. The Tres Primas is the one that really sells well for them here. It's really a crowd pleaser. Oh yeah, very good. Oh man,
on the Tucson Tasty.
And then deep fried for a little bit of crunch, and then they're dressed like an elote, so you have the cilantro lime crema on top with the cotija cheese and the tahini. So it's kind of our little play spin on the street corn there.
Gonna go in the meatball mix. Carrots and onions,
Pecorino Romano.
Okay.
It's gonna get this as well as Parmesan.
Give it a little salt, creamy.
Yeah, a little bit of saltiness and lots of that umami bang. Got a lot of glutamic acid in Pecorino and in Parmesan. So that's what gives that savory sensation, that umami. those aged cheeses as well as mushrooms, those sort of things give that really savory taste, that umami. Finely grated, we eat about a cup. Touch more for good measure. All right, we got more parm grated.
This is the wolf shrimp. I forgot the rest of it. It's got a wolfberry in it.
That's very good. Very good.
Excellent.
Very long noodles.
It's actually a light pasta, so it's not going to feel filling. I mean, overfill.
Oh, we have 2 margaritas and a beer yet. I'll bring the consomme right over for you.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, this is too good.
Anything?
Can't bring you anything else, sir? Would you like to try another glass of wine?
Oh, I'm good on the wine. Thank you.
Fettuccine Alfredo and that Let's get a couple pans of ice in the bottom pan so we can keep it cool as we're working it. Just with half a batch at a time. Pop the rest back in the cooler here. And then we can portion scoop these out. So then we'll give them a little hand roll finish.
How did you develop the meatball recipe?
Ancient Chinese secret. No, so Matt's been doing meatballs for many a year at Fresco, and so little adaptation of that. And then the sauce that we'll be serving with this was a little chiltepín arrabbiata that was actually on our opening menu as part of a vegan dish.
Okay.
A rigatoni chiltepín arrabbiata. So it's got classic flavors of spicy Italian red sauce, but using some ingredients of local provenance. Of course, most notably the chiltepín itself, the genetic mother of all chilies that grows wild here in the Sonoran Desert. Double down on the local provenance with the Vera Earl beef here. And in triple, actually, when we get the bucatini in-house, using some of the local grain of Durham wheat grown out of BKW Farms right here in Marana.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
Favorite thing to cook? At the Carriage House, so cooking with Janos Wilder, and we opened up and had a dim sum menu there. Dim sum and then some, really, because it was not just traditional Cantonese, but we did other breakfast and brunch favorites from around the world. Include everything from Jamaican plantain fritters to Salvadoran pupusas, whatnot. But one of the dishes that we had on there was a mapo tofu that I cribbed a bunch of notes from several different recipes and iodized them, put our own little take on it. So that mapo tofu is just a killer dish that is a favorite of mine to make, to eat, and to make with my daughter. Something we have enjoyed together since she was about 2 years old and just almost freshly out of the Bjorn in the kitchen on her own and a little step stool next to me.
With all the chefs that you've cooked with, because you're a celebrity chef in your own right, but who's one chef that you were and still are kind of excited that you are very excited, really, but that you got to cook with?
Yeah, I'm just thrilled with the cooking scene in Tucson and how far we've come and where we've continued to grow. All of my local colleagues that I get to work with in the gastronomic community of Tucson doing those gut dinners, right. I always learn from folks around here, whether it's from Kelsey Bartholome, who's done a ton of indigenous cooking and working with folks at gatherings from Michigan to Minnesota to Durango to right here in Tucson. And of course, I have had the luxury and the privilege of doing some stages elsewhere and gotten to work with some tremendous folks. Did stage at Momofuku in New York. And so David Chang has throughout his career done a brilliant job of attracting amazing young talent and then having them grow into tremendous chefs who then go on to their own greatness and open up projects elsewhere. So working with him and working with the folks at Alinea when I got to do a stage there, and the chef de cuisine at the time was Dave Barron, who's got his own place in Santa Monica now. Mike Begale, who has also gone on to do some great things. Been very fortunate to work with just amazing people throughout my career. And of course, I like that I still get to play with Janos now and again too. Working with him for 15 years, and that's awesome. I mean, still have a great relationship. Destined for there. So this is our salmon dish here. It's on a bed of a little tamale cake, green corn tamale, sort of fixings there with Anaheim chilies and jalapenos, white cheddar cheese, and that goes on this bed of a basil and pea puree. And then we got the sauce work in between here. You put the lime in the coconut and a little butterfly pea. So we steep butterfly pea. It's a little Asiatic flour that turns food to this brilliant blue hue, but you add acid to it and it goes purple. So a little lime juice in there with a base of coconut milk and a steeped butterfly pea tea, and then just a little bit of corn and some vanilla in there. So all those flavors melt together and complement one another and bounce off flavors of the pea and basil coulis. And those, of course, go fantastic with salmon, which also marries well with the corn, the tamale. So you just got a lot of harmony of flavors, brilliant symphony of colors there. And then we go to a comfort classic here, fettuccine Alfredo with chicken. And it's super simple, but very comforting, embracing, warm, hearty dish. And it's just, you feel at home. You eat this dish and you can't help but feel just sort of relaxed and nourished. And it's just this, does it get better? This simple, elegant. This is our beef short rib peposa. Braised beef short rib. We braise with ancho chilies and aromatics and make a bordelaise sauce. And that's really rich jus out of there. We bring in a ton of beef bones and cook those down to roast the bones with a little tomato paste, a little pansage, the mirepoix, rich hearty stock, nice braise, and then to cut through a little of the richness, some pickled fennel and pickled red onion there. And then our tamale polenta is the base there. So we use masa and polenta, so nixtamalized corn ground into fine grits, and then a little coarser grain polenta. Pull those in together. A little smoked cheddar goes in the mix there. Some kernels of corn, some Anaheim chilies, and so this is great bracing flavors of tamales, but in the form of polenta, and it's perfect boil for our short rib. So that marriage of Italian and Sonoran cuisine. And so this is a little short story of Zio Peppe in a nutshell. Warm, familiar, comforting foods that are accessible to everybody, and then stuff that's familiar but also a little bit strange in a way that just sort of piques the interest and imagination. All right, we're on table one.
So I had the salmon dish, and it came on that bed of butterfly pea sauce, which made it purple, which was just really good. And then the whole piece of salmon sat on top of a tamale cake that was just to die for. It was really good.
I had the fettuccine Alfredo with chicken. It was to die for. It so good. Actually, I also had it last week, so I'm back. That's how good it was.
I had the beef short rib peposo. It was great. The bed underneath of the, what was it? I think it was corn, this puree. It was great. It was really enjoyable. The beef was really tender, and overall the flavor was just amazing.
the Alfredo, and it is really like fantastic. I actually was expecting it to be a little bit spicy since it was made with a chili paste, but it was more on the sweeter side. So I really enjoyed it.
What makes a great pizza great? I would say that the crust, the base, is obviously a very important part of that. If you don't get that correct, you're already off to a bad start. And then I would say that the proportions on top of the pizza, gotta get it just right. I think with pizza, it's a lot of components. There's a lot that goes into it. That oven needs to be where you need it to be for the kind of dough that you have, because there are so many different kinds of dough. You need to make sure you have your oven exactly where it needs to be. And then, yeah, it's just executing correctly how long to keep it in that oven to get it to where it needs to be. And then again, making sure, honestly, I do think a lot goes into the dough. I do think that is probably one of the most important parts. At my old job, they needed somebody on the fly, and my brother has done it like my whole life. I was very comfortable and kind of ready and like, yeah, I'll take you up on that. I'll do it. And just wanted to prove that I also could make pizza like he could. And like the nostalgia behind it, because we did it growing up. We had a really, really close bond. And a lot of the times we'd be left at the house. And these were the meals that we would come up with, usually with bagels or whatever kind of carb we could find, kind of bread. Coming up with our own marinara, finding whatever cheese, and just creating.
This one here is the El Viejito. So it's our version of an old fashioned, and then actually, because everything here has a Sonoran twist to it or an Italian twist to it, this one has amaretto in it. So it's Old Forester bourbon with amaretto di Saronno, and then some bitters, some orange zest. Pretty simple as far as the ingredients go, but like really like fun on the flavor palette with the almond notes and the urban notes together with the orange. It's really delicious. This one here is the Last Monsoon. I'm actually most proud of this one. This one won us City of Gastronomy Cocktail of the Year in 2022. The base of it is a pomegranate cordial made in-house with fall spices. So we have cardamom, cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg, and then it also uses a little bit of red wine vinegar, some chiltepine simple syrup, and tequila. So I really love this one. We spray it off with a little bit of orange blossom water and creosote, and it gives it that monsoon feel to it. So this is our limoncello margarita. It utilizes our house-made limoncello, a little bit of triple sec, obviously some Jimador tequila, and then some fresh citrus. So it's our little play on a margarita. The limoncello kind of gives that little lemon lollipop vibe, but not overly sweet. The citrus kind of rounds everything out and balances out.
We have the El Rustico Birria Pizza. This is a collaboration with Chef Juan Almanza of El Rustico. And then we have our puposa. This is a braised short rib, chili braised short rib, guajillo braised short rib, tamale polenta, and we just have some, delicious demi and a little bit of pickled things on top, some pickled fennel and red onion. These are our elote arancini. If we pull these off the menu, the torches and pitchforks can come out. So this is sort of one of the core face of the brand items here. So Sicilian street food meets Sonoran street food. So street vendors corn from the Sonoran idiom, grill off the corn, shave that, fold in tahine and queso fresco, and then you roll that into risotto that's been cooked off with corn stock. We take all the cobs from grilling the corn, make a really flavorful corny stock from that, cook that risotto up. Parmesan goes in, more seasoning, and roll them into these delicious little balls, and then roll that rather than the standard breading process of flour, egg wash, and breadcrumbs. It goes into masa harina, corn masa, nixtamalized corn that's been ground fine, and then from the masa to egg wash, and then totopos, crushed tortilla chips that we fry in-house, topped with the cilantro and lime crema, flavor explosion, and perfect little foil for an appetizer. And putting a coda on it, I'll wrap up the fettuccine Alfredo Rado. So this is, again, taking something familiar, embracing warm and comforting, and
and feels like Sunday family dinner. And then just putting a little bit of the twist on, a little defamiliarization by incorporating chile colorado into that Alfredo base. There's one thing that we learned very early on is that you have a cream sauce and you add chile colorado to it, and it's just magical.
The story of that dish is kind of funny. Devin and I were just working on all kinds of stuff, and we had made a bunch of. Devin has a great chile colorado recipe. He had made a bunch of that. I have an Alfredo recipe. I'd made that. We actually just kind of made a bunch of things that we knew, and we brought those to play with, and then we made a bunch of new stuff, and then we just started playing with flavors. But we kept everything, we put the chili Colorado in. It was awesome. So I was just kind of joking. I'm like, you know what? We can just take this Alfredo sauce, put some chili Colorado on it, cook it up, this pasta, toss it together, and it's going to be delicious. And then we took a bite. We're like, but that's real delicious.
There are so many of those moments where you got your chocolate and my peanut butter, and it was that discovery of oh wow, that really does work together. Theoretically, conceptually, it's made sense, but then it hit the palate. It's oh, that's got to go on menu.
Get in there.
Steaming goodness. Oh, award-winning Laramita wines, Sangiovese there, some dusty tannins.
Wear gloves or wash your hands well after you play with them.
Yeah.
Yes. Learn that lesson the hard way.
All right. Lime on there, make the flavors pop. Open it up. Just a little spritz there, just a little pop of acid that ties it all together. A little dunk in the consomme here.
Much like Lebowski's Res.
Really tie the room together. There was a reason we put this on menu. Matt and I grew up Tucson natives, and our food scene, we had some heavy hitters in our childhood, but there's just so many more choices of places that are really operating top-notch level.
Yes.
And some folks that the cynical appeal about it, and it's not Manhattan, so it's not like you can walk down the street and just throw a rock and hit 3 Michelin star cooks on your way home from work. But it's a different scene. But I'll take the Pepsi challenge with the restaurant scene anywhere, pound for pound. Per capita, Tucson has a phenomenal food scene, and while a lot of food isn't necessarily Michelin aspirational in being the really stuffed shirt and pressed linen crowd.
Tablecloth.
Yeah, it's a different scene, but flavor and the integrity of the food, we got some people doing really phenomenal things here.
Yes.
It's good that we're now getting that recognition after getting the City of Gastronomy recognition, getting national and international media realizing the embarrassment of riches that Tucson really does have in the food scene.
They're right.
For me, it's about exploring everything, and that's the great thing about being in this industry, and particularly having had the great good fortune of being able to do a little bit of traveling and eating a lot of places, is just the breadth and wealth of discovering of new flavors and combinations. My favorite thing to cook with my daughter, which has as much to do with the company as the dish itself, and making mapo tofu. But there's I can tick a box in any number of national cuisines. I've got a great lamb vindaloo recipe that I can eat that 4 times a week and be quite happy. Anything on our menu, we've got a great collaboration.
I could also eat that 4 times a week.
Yeah,
on vindaloo. Oh, it's good. It's good. Yeah.
If I'm waiting on the electric chair and last meal request, have a group of friends and do dim sum and just get 60 plates and share with everybody, and it's.
Well, if we're talking about restaurants in town, dishes I crave, I wouldn't even call it a favorite, but that Calabrian gnocchi over at Mama Luisa's, he does this Calabrian chili and bacon jam, and it's got his toasted hazelnuts and Brussels sprouts and some pickled onions, a little bit of just fresh cold ricotta garnished afterwards, and it is just, as far as a dish is concerned, every box you want to check, it has it. But beyond that, it just tastes amazing. Yeah, so that's probably one of my favorite ones. I'll drive pretty far to eat that one.
with shrimp, wolfberry shrimp pasta dish. Very good.
He's a farmer from Oregon and retired, and so we know good beef. My husband's giving me looks right now.
So
I think when it comes to like green chili burgers, ours is above and beyond anything anybody makes because of the green chorizo patty.
Yeah.
You know, and the sauce that I make here. So it's
So with the green chorizo patty, I mean, what are you using green peppers?
it's traditional green chorizo, so it's a sausage green chorizo, and it gets blended with the Vera Earls.